Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond the Grid, and today we're going to be talking about EG4's year in review for 2025 and talk about what we have in store coming in for 2026. Markus, great to have you on the show, man. I don't get to see you a whole lot, right? Because I'm in and out of the office. You're overseas a lot doing what you do. But I want to talk to you a lot about what 2025 looked like for EG4, kind of the complexities of what we had going on. We had some political issues this year with, the big, beautiful bill. You've got the ITC going away. You've got your fiat compliance stuff. And I know you're involved in a lot of that with, the product side. So I wanted to kind of get your feedback on kind of what 2025 looked like for you.
Well, the tariffs that came in was a big deal. We had to shuffle things around and rethink our strategy, how we're going to stay competitive. Competitive in the market. Then a lot of the growth that we were doing at the time was really substantial to the company. We were growing so fast. EG4 became such a big brand so quick, competing with the top tier competitors.
Yeah.
A lot of our original processes that we had in place, they had to constantly change.
Still changing.
Still changing.
I was just in a 3-day conference with the sales team, and it was crazy, right? So where we were, I've been with the organization now about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And from where I started at to where we are today is just this night and day difference, right? The scalability of where we were with EG4, a year ago versus where we are now. I mean, our tech support team has grown exponentially. Our sales organization, our software team, your team with the product development and the PLM team. It's just been this crazy, crazy growth this year. So what do you see as far as that goes with how we're going to be or how we were able to maintain what we did this year to stay relevant in the industry and stay competitive, with the other major manufacturers?
I mean, a lot of it had to do with the testing that was involved in R&D back there, the communication between the installers, staying active on the solar forums, listening to the customer base there. Actually, the biggest point that EG4 has been a part of, or what was the biggest part of the success that we've been in, is listening to these people and seeing that the pain points they have. A lot of the big brands, they build their product and they build it to what they think is right for the market, right? Mm-hmm. They listen to the customer here and there, but they don't really implement a lot of the pain points, fixing those. So what we did, we really focused on the areas that competitors were not focusing on, and we developed product to close the gap on a lot of those pain points. And that's a lot of the reason why AG4 was able to to rise up to the top as fast as they did.
Yeah.
It's been a hard road filling those gaps, but it's been successful, very, very much so. The installers, the customers, we're getting a lot of solid feedback. And the main, I think maybe having a lot of these features or these gaps covered has been somewhat of a issue in a way, because a lot of these installers would call us and say, hey, how come you don't have this feature? Mm-hmm. Like, well, we do. We have it.
Right.
It's turning out to be like we've covered everything, but nobody knows that we've covered it because it's too much in one area all at one time.
Right. So
all at one time. So
I see that a lot from my side, right? From the technical sales world. I'll get customers that'll call and say, hey, like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. Oh, perfect. Yeah, we have that feature. And a lot of times I get that same response, like, oh, you do?
Right.
And something that I've seen, like, if you go back and you look at our monitoring portal, for those of you guys that have, an EG4 system, you know what I'm talking about. We're so programmable, right? We've got so many feature sets and benefits, right? We've got self-consumption, forced discharge, PV charging, AC charging, battery backup mode. We've got all these different feature benefits that a lot of people just don't understand or don't know because they're used to that cookie cutter grid-tied solar system, from the, 3 major manufacturers, let's call it. And a lot of those companies don't have that feature set or feature benefit the way that we do. So when new installers come on board, they're so used to that just generic, everyday, run-of-the-mill, hey, put a backfed breaker in here, turn it on, do your firmware updates, and you're done. Versus us, we have that potential to go in and make those dramatic settings changes to really configure a system to give the homeowner the best cost-benefit analysis for that system that they're installing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people say the when you look at the settings page or the monitoring portal, for instance, they don't understand half of it that's on there. It's like an engineer built it for an engineering team, right?
Right. Yep.
So making it more customer friendly and more understandable is the next big project we've been working on.
And that's the EG4 Connect app, right?
Right.
Perfect.
The new app, and making that installer friendly and customer friendly is our biggest target right now. So we've been talking to a bunch of installers and customers. We have a live testing group as well.
I'm part of that. I'm on the testing group.
He's a part of that. Getting a lot of good feedback. We keep getting to the point to where we want to release it, and then it's not perfect enough, or it's not good enough yet, right? We have to be better. So
Yeah.
I think we got to stop thinking that way and just release it and then keep evolving it. So that's hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that new app out and the monitoring portal, and that'll solve a lot of small issues with the installs and commissioning and setups. That
I like on the new app, and I'll give you guys a little sneak preview. I like how easy and simple we've made the commissioning process, right? For the Dongle Connect. It's basically just like, I don't want to use this word, but like an install wizard, right? It's pretty much just yes,
it
no,
is a wizard.
yes.
Yes, it is a wizard.
And so that's going to make it a lot easier. I think that's going to reduce our call volume on the tech support side, which is going to free up those guys for real world issues, right? Actually electrical failures or actual problems with, the equipment. So that's good. Pain point wise, I know you brought that up. Pain points that you've seen that we've kind of adapted and overcome over the 2025 year. What are some of those major pain points that you have seen that we were able to resolve in a relatively short time frame and go to market with?
Pain points in general, or
just some specific pain points that you've seen.
Pain points is always going to be my number one pain point's growth, right?
Yeah.
It's as you grow, you're growing with different departments, different leaders that are coming in, and having to change and process and figure out how to work with these people or the departments, for instance. It's a constant pain point. But other than that, it's minor details on certain things like conduit boxes or whatever, or knockouts, right? For instance, a lot of those became pain points, figuring out how to make it perfect for every setup, every install.
Right, every configuration.
Every configuration, right. Exactly. So something like that, and then the figuring out the resources needed for the growth as well has been a pain point, right? So like we have an engineering department, like you said, we added the software team because VPP, TPO programs have become a big thing to be involved in, not just supporting the DIY customer, and then the nice clean installs that you like to see, going from DIY to that installer base EPC style.
Such a dramatic difference.
Exactly, huge difference, right? So that's been a little bit of a pain point, but it's been more of a pat on the back pain point because you solved it, right? And you're able to conquer that area.
I don't get on the forums much. Every once in a while I'll go through and read a couple of things. I know you're on there a lot. I know James is in there quite a bit. I know Naveen and some other guys are in there. I try to stay out of it. It's not really my world. It's not where I live.
It wasn't my world either, but it became my world. So.
But I think the DIY community in that scope of the forums has helped drive EG4
100%.
and made our products that much better and made the transition into the utility or grid tide so much more relevant and so much easier for market share.
Yeah. So if you want to hear a bunch of complaints about anybody's product, you go in the DIY forum. You figure that's where you see them at, right? You see where they're not happy because they go in there and they complain. You don't see a lot of attaboys in there.
No.
That doesn't happen a lot, right?
They're pretty ruthless.
They're really ruthless. So it's an online based community. And they got that the internet to protect them.
That's right. Got those
not face to face
keyboard warriors out there just hacking away on the old keyboard.
That's right. So they really tell their peace of mind in there, and we literally look at that stuff and we try to figure out how to solve that problem.
Yeah, and
if it's with a different company or if it's our own, whatever the case is, that's where you get really good feedback at.
Yeah, I think, I agree 100%, right? So them giving us that feedback does a couple of things, right? Number one, it keeps you humble, right? Because you see where those flaws are in our system. But then it also drives innovation and success, which is what we do here, right? You're a big part of that with the product team. I know James is really involved in seeing that stuff, communicating that to you, as well as also traveling, to our manufacturing facility and really implementing those changes.
Right.
When the big beautiful bill came, and I just absolutely hate that it's called that, but that's what we're going to call it.
The big beautiful battery is what I'm calling now. BBB.
The BBB, and we're going to get an A+ for that. So how did we navigate the whole FIAC, FIAC compliant issue with domestic content? I know James is very proactive, even in 2024. When I first came on with the company, that was something that he was already starting to look into. He was like, look, I see the writing on the wall. This is where the industry is going to go, and this is how we're going to facilitate that. And I know you were a big part of that, so I'd like to know kind of where you helped to innovate and where you helped drive that, our manufacturing facility that's just down the road here in Commerce.
Well, since day one, since I started with EG4, it's always been the goal to manufacture in the USA.
Sure.
Right? That's always been the goal. And that's one of the big reasons why I joined the team. So when that big, beautiful bill came along, a lot of the incentives and stuff you would have got normally went away, only in the solar and battery industry, because not political or nothing, but the Republican Party is more focused on gas and oil and all that.
Yep.
So anything that had to do with solar and battery was considered leftist thing, I guess, and a lot of the incentives got canceled.
Right.
So really having to define what was still allowed and what wasn't. Thankfully, James was part of the
lobbying partner
the lobbying
for that.
part, right? He was there in Washington, and he was really hyper focused on figuring out what we can and can't do, and that helped tremendously move us along faster. And he's made some good contacts. He's got good relationships there. So anything that's changed, or if something was worded a certain way, you can look at it two different ways, right? But he got the actual definition of it that way. So that definitely helped big time. And then my past life before EG4, I built the most automated plants in the USA. So steel mills, recycling mills, all that stuff. So manufacturing's always been somewhat my expertise.
Right.
So starting Solar 76 up, finding the right power requirements, the aging testing we had to do, the transformers, the function test, all that stuff. That was a big joy on my part, because I love doing that kind of stuff, right? Setting something up and seeing it work, especially something big like that, it's pretty awesome.
So I have that same passion, but for cars. I love to tear apart a motor, build it back up, see if I can make 700-800 horsepower.
Well, when I do that, I end up with extra parts. So
You drive a Ford?
it's usually on front wheel drive cars, but
Oh yeah. Well, because those things are like when you look at it like that. I'm just going to reference this really quick. When you're building, like, let's say a Honda, right? And that motor is built outside of the car, so all of those bolts and nuts and washers and hoses are all readily accessible until you put it inside the car.
Yeah, it's not accessible no more.
Then you can't get to it anymore. So you end up with a couple
100%.
extra 10-millimeter bolts running around.
Agree.
Which is fine, right? It starts, it runs, it goes down the road. We're going to call it good.
Right.
So from a standpoint of manufacturing with the whole FIAC thing, like I said, I was in that 3-day conference with our sales team, and we dove into that a lot with what that looks like from the percentage breakdown. And you could just see the glassed over look on all the sales reps' faces in this meeting. And I'll be honest, I mean, I'm a relatively intelligent guy, and there was some things that I just struggled to kind of comprehend, because it's so complex, right? You've got the PV side of it, and then you've got the ESS side of it,
Right.
and then you have the combination of the two to get the additional 10%.
That's right.
And when you start doing that math for salespeople, right, they're not technical. They don't understand that racking is one thing, and then batteries is another, and then inverters is something different. You've got all of these different complexities to get to this threshold of, I think it's 50%, something like that, 55%.
Yeah, so it gets down to the component level, basically, right? So your PCBs, your MOSFETs, your capacitors, all that stuff has to be, there's only a certain amount, up to 51% maybe, I think it is, but that has to be sourced out of the USA, or maybe another partner country that's allowed to be considered a FIAC.
Right.
Country
of those,
or
what is it? It's four major countries, I think, top of my head.
Yeah, I think so. You got Taiwan.
You're talking about that is allowed to do our stuff, or that we're
No,
allowed to
not
purchase
allowed,
from?
but to source the components from, right? So
Okay.
And then China is always the biggest problem. Is China grew so fast in the industry. America wanted to build cheaper products, have them faster, sell, bring the price down on a lot of the products. So a lot of the American industries moved their stuff to China.
Right.
China took advantage of that, right?
Sure.
China grew so fast. I mean, every time I go to China, I'm just blown away by how much technology they have there. And I come back to the USA and I'm like,
what are we doing?
What's going on, guys? Even if I go to Germany or somewhere else, they're just a lot further along the way in technology, especially when it comes to trains, transportation.
Oh, yeah.
Anything to do with that automation or let's say you don't use a bank card anymore, or cash, right? That kind of stuff is just, they're 10 years ahead of us. China in general is way ahead of any other country right now. They're beating Japan in technology.
Well, and not surprising. Japan was usually, up there,
Right.
10 years
Right.
ago.
Exactly. So China's way up there. They can build it faster. They can build it cheaper. All their engineers over there, it's a total different lifestyle, right? So the kids, they go to school there and they come home with books and books of stuff. And their main thing is to learn, and become the best of the best of the best. And once they become an engineer, they can't even find a job because that's how the competition is there. It's just everybody's an engineer or a high level,
Right.
something high level that they learned and finished college with.
So business, engineering,
Yeah.
doctor,
Right.
or medical, it's crazy how
It's
much.
crazy.
My wife is an exchange student coordinator here in the U.S., and we have a lot of students that come over from China, on J-1 visas for college and stuff like that. And I've seen 19-year-old kids that are 20 times smarter than me and you can buy.
Right,
It's
right.
incredible. Speak 7 languages.
Right.
They've got a degree already.
Yep.
And I'm blown away, too, by the amount of information that they can process as fast as they do.
Right.
So it's been really entertaining. I do want to talk a little bit about our growth this year. I know I've seen it. You've been here. This is 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, I've been here since day one, but
Yeah.
3.5, 4 years.
We'll call it good. And I'm coming up on 2. But this year alone, 2024 for us, just over exponential growth, right?
Right.
You look at exponential, we're doing 100 times that.
Right.
It's just crazy to see our growth. I'm a trade show guy. I'm always at trade shows. I don't see you. I don't know why Marcus isn't there. He's out running around doing other things. But at the booth, we get people that just walk up and they're like, hey, my neighbor got an EG4 system, and I want to learn more about that. 2 years ago, that wasn't even a forethought in anybody's head, right? Showing up to RE Plus and having a booth that's just nonstop, right?
Right.
It's 10 hours. Your feet are killing you. Your back's killing you. You got no more voice left. You're miserable. And then you got team dinners after that. We go out with the team and, go have some dinner and kind of decompress. But a lot of times, man, I don't even want to go. I'd rather just go back to the hotel and get a nice nap in.
Right.
Because it's just so emotionally taxing to go through that process all day, have the same conversation 400 times,
Agree.
in 3 days. So it can be a little rough for sure.
Well, this is the first time this year where I saw the big competitors coming to our booth, taking pictures and asking questions.
Yeah.
A lot of them were asking if we had job openings, for instance, right? So it was definitely very visible on how much the growth has impacted the whole solar community in general, and it's amazing to see how fast this place has grown since when I first started. Because when I first started, I was back there in an empty warehouse with SO cord going across the floor to inverters and testing inverters and batteries. I started the R&D facility up back then, and it was bare minimum, bare bones, right? Now we have a full R&D facility with very expensive testing equipment.
Yeah.
All the inverters are mounted on the wall. Conduits ran across there. It looks very, very beautiful. I'm an electrician, and conduit work is a big thing in my eyes when I see it happen. But
It's the best thing in the world, man.
It is.
And unfortunately, right, so I love conduit bending too, right? But it's an art form.
It is. It's definitely
When you're
an art.
good at it, it's just perfect,
Right.
right? When you can get your 90s all to curve the same, same angles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go out to a job site with a 19-year-old guy that's, been doing solar for 6 months, and you see his conduit runs, and you're just like, oh my God. It's,
Yeah.
don't put that guy in charge of Conduit, right?
They
Like,
won't even bend the box offset for.
give him a fish tape and a Conduit box, and just let that guy stay on the roof.
Yeah, so we got a new PhD director of hardware, right? And he's been in the solar industry for 20 years.
Who's
he's
that?
Very knowledgeable, Hong.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yep.
So he's back there. In
I did not
R&D.
know he was a doctor.
Yeah, he's got a PhD.
Wow.
So he's back there in R&D, and he's now any meeting he has, the picture that's in his background is actually the R&D facility with all the beautiful conduit ran and all the inverters on the wall.
There you go.
And he said he's never seen anything like that before.
And was that all you?
Well, that was me and we hired a company to come run it for us. But
Okay.
that company, all the guys that work for that company used to work for me when I did all the plants and stuff. Right?
Gotcha.
So they know my expectations.
There you go. he prefaced it with like, hey guys, I know you do quality work. Don't
Right.
mess this up.
Right. Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So what do we got going on coming into the end of the year, right? Here we are. We're coming up on the end of the year. We got a little bit of time left. What's kind of the big push end of the year coming into 2026?
Yeah, so we have the new multi-head mini splits that are coming out, right?
Oh, I'm excited for this one.
It's 36 kW and a 24. You can attach up to 3 different heads on it, so you can actually cool your whole house with it. And it takes solar as well. It's a hybrid unit, so you could typically during the day when it's sunny not use any power at all, and keep your house cool the whole time, right? So
or heat, depending on where you live.
or heat, yeah, exactly. So that's a big thing. Then we have a window air conditioning unit.
That's a 1-ton though, right? The window unit's a 1-ton unit.
Yeah, but it also takes solar, so you can cool your room off or a cabin or something like that with the window unit. And if you have apartments or something like that, and you're trying to get into solar, it's a good option.
Right, or like a little small duplex or something like
That's
that.
right.
Maybe you don't have a roof space to put,
Right.
do a small ground mount, 6-7 panels, you'd be good.
Yep.
I do have a question on that, on the multi-head. So I know it's a 30 or a 3-ton unit, right? So you could do 3 of the 1-ton unit air handlers. But what if you wanted to do maybe like a 2-ton and a 1-ton combination? Could you do just the 2 units, or do you have to do 3?
You can mix them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if you don't want to use that last inlet line? Because it's got 6.
You don't
right?
have to.
Right, because you're not opening that valve,
Right.
so it's not going to
Right.
discharge. Perfect. And then solar panels, right? So we've got, traditionally like 4 to 5 on a 1-ton, 7, 8 on a 2-ton, 3-ton, 10, 11 panels.
Yeah, I got to look at the spec on that. I'm not up to date specifically on how many
I am
panels.
not
but,
either.
But the panels keep changing and getting bigger and bigger as well, so it's
Right.
kind of hard to keep track of that.
Yeah, I know. Like I've talked to, Tad, who's a guy that we work with. Not directly associated with EG4, but he does a lot of work for us. And every time I talk to that guy about mini splits, he's like, "Hey, just add an extra panel, add one more, it'll be fine." And you know what? So far, he hasn't failed me. Right, every time I've added 1 or 2 additional panels, system's worked. It's worked great. There is that kind of threshold in the morning where you've got to hit like that 150. I think it's 150 volts DC, top of my head.
Well, you need to be careful adding that extra panel because in the wintertime it will.
Yes, you will get that voltage
It could
rise.
cause a problem.
Sure.
Yes, right. But
I'm not saying
I
to
love
add
Tad.
30 panels.
No,
but-
I know. I love Tad. He's one of my favorite persons I know. He's like my brother. Me and him, we talk a lot.
There you go.
We talk every week at least for an hour or 2.
All right, I don't talk to him like that. I just call him when I'm in the field and something's not working on a mini split, and he goes, "Hey, that's what you got to do."
I love his YouTube channel.
He's a lot of fun. Go check him out. I don't know what his YouTube stuff is, but yeah, look for Tad, air conditioning guy. He'll probably pop up for you. I don't, man. I'm not a YouTube guy. It's not my world.
Right.
So coming in, we got the multi-head mini split. We've got the window unit coming out. I know, what was it, Intersolar earlier this year? We actually launched the tandem and the stride conduit boxes.
Yeah, so it's a double conduit box. It's longer, so you don't have to put 2 different conduit boxes in, one for each battery. It's a typical installer-friendly setup, which our electricians, they love that kind of stuff, right? You put one big gutter in.
Oh, I love gutter boxes,
Right,
man.
you put one big gutter in instead of a bunch of little ones and then have a nipple between them every
Right.
time. So this solves that problem for sure, and it's something that I was passionate about developing. It was my idea. I wanted to fix the issue with having multiple conduit boxes, having to buy all these nipples.
With this little like 8-inch piece
right,
of chase coming in
yeah,
there.
it depends on how far they space it apart, right? But yeah, definitely, it just causes the installer more pain having to buy more parts and keep up with everything.
Especially if you're going to get into that world where you kind of do like cookie cutter installs, right? I got an inverter, I got 2 batteries, conduit box, and a grid boss.
Yeah.
It's great, right? But then if you do the singles, like you said, you got to run that little jumper. A lot of jurisdictions won't allow you to run any kind of comms cable or low voltage stuff on that DC side. So then you got to put a second piece in there.
Yeah.
So that always creates a little bit of pain point. We have the tandem conduit box is the forward facing, right?
Yeah.
So same concept, right? But instead of going wide, you're going too deep.
Yeah.
Off the wall.
Back.
Right. So if you've got restricted wall space or something like that, you could do that to give yourself that additional area to get those 2 in there.
Extended inverter bracket, so the inverter can extend out to the front.
Right. It'll actually be front facing,
Yeah.
and it'll give you a nice clean aesthetic on the front side without affecting the installation.
Exactly.
Absolutely. New battery. That's my topic of today.
The 314 amp hour.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one is it's going to be our first battery that's not gonna have an LCD.
Yep.
Right. It's got its own app, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth connectivity. We can actually look into the battery now and tech support and monitor if there's an issue going on, actually go in there and actually see it ourselves now. And the customer will have an app. He can see whatever's going on with his batteries at the same time, not having to be physically right there at the unit itself.
Actually plugged in with a laptop, looking at the BMS tools and all that.
Yeah. And over-the-air updates are also part of that.
Now, I know the over-air updates is going to be a big one, right? Because I hate going out there and plugging in a 232 cable and all that stuff. But the firmware that comes with them, will that automatically allow? Because I know on the 280 amp hour, you used to have to go do the first update, and then you could do remotes after that.
Well, that was when we were developing the over-the-air update. So the 314s are going to be ready
right out of the box.
Out of the box, yeah.
Perfect.
So you can update it through the app, or you can do it through the monitoring portal. Either way, right.
On our monitoring portal, not on the battery side.
On ours.
Okay.
Right. And the battery side, the customer support guys would be able to update that specific battery itself.
Okay.
As well.
And it's got what? It's got auto balancing, right? On the new one's going to auto balance the cells?
It's got active balancing.
Or active balancing?
Active balancing.
Right, versus passive, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Passive is something that the industry currently uses still. There's not many battery manufacturers out there that convert it to active balancing. So if the BMS notices that 1 or 2 of the cells are under voltage or over a little bit, specifically under, the battery would pull power from the other cells to
from the higher ones to kind of balance out the other.
Balance the other batteries, so you don't end up with a big SOC drift, which is the biggest problem that you see in the market right now. If you don't use your batteries, especially lithium iron phosphate, a lot of people don't know this, and that's probably one of the biggest customer complaints we get. They install their inverter in their battery system, and they just don't use their batteries. They just think, I'm going to keep this for backup only. Well, if you don't use your batteries in a week or two, LFP in general, your batteries start drifting and going out of balance. It doesn't know what the actual voltage, the SOC is versus the voltage.
Because the drift is so minimal, the BMS can't pick up that variation.
Exactly.
Right.
So your battery would say you're at 80%, but you're at
you're really at 20.
You're at 47 volts or something. You're at 15 or 10% at that point.
Right.
So once you have to use your battery, you're only using it for 10 minutes, if that.
Right.
And then your system dies. You're like, hey, what the heck? It says 80%.
Yeah, you've hit your on-grid cutoff percentage right at 20 or 15%, and you're just stuck.
So for the people out there that don't use their batteries, please use your batteries.
Yeah, please cycle them.
Yeah, it actually helps the life of the batteries as well if you use them. Don't just let them sit there. It's not good for them. The LFP likes to be used daily, especially from down to discharge 80% and then charge back up to 100%. You got to use 80% capacity at least once a week. But I'd recommend doing it every day, and you won't regret it. Your battery warranty is going to hold, and your battery life is going to hold. It actually helps the algorithm of the cells.
So on the 314, is it roughly the same warranty as far as cycles, like 8,000 cycles on there?
Yeah, it's the same warranty.
Okay,
it's the same warranty. Nothing's changed there. The biggest thing, or the biggest pain point we had, was trying to make the form factor of the 314 match the 280 amp hour. So we could if you already had 280 amp hours, you can install the 314. It'll fit right next to it. The Conduit boxes are going to work with it. Everything's going to be universal. It was a challenge, but we did it. Took us a little bit to finish the UL testing and making modifications here and there, but we finally got past that point now, and
that was one of my big benefits of the 314 was, especially at RE Plus, we revealed it at RE Plus, and a lot of people were just like, well, how much bigger is it? How's it going to mount? Is it going to look like this? Is it going to weigh the same, right? We're getting this additional, almost 2 kilowatt hours of storage. How much more is that going to look, or what's it going to look like? And you guys killed it, right? Same dimension, same mounting platform, same virtual weight, just more storage and a better overall system with, the active balancing. We also did away with the dip switches, right? We've got auto detect on the dip switches.
Everything's auto detect.
You guys added
the inverter you're plugged into, and if you're paralleling batteries, it'll automatically set master, slave up all the way down the line.
Right. Then you guys also added the terminal blocks for DC, right? For the DC disconnects.
Yeah. Well, we added a 12
or
volt
the
power
DC
supply.
RSD, I guess you call it.
Well, that's always been there. Well, it's been through the comms cable before, so there's dry contacts now to add an e-stop or RSD function separately to the battery. And then you have 12 volt power, and normally open, normally closed contacts on there. So what I've been noticing is a lot of jurisdictions and areas have required you to tie your fire alarm system into the batteries in case a safety issue happens. So now the BMS can detect, or if there's a fire, the BMS is going to be able to receive that signal from the fire alarm and shut down at the same time.
Interesting. I'd be entertained to see that wired up. I've never seen that done before. I know we've got jurisdictions like in California and stuff like that. You put a battery in a garage, you've got to add a heat detector and all that stuff in the garage.
Right.
But if you had that wired into the fire suppression or fire alarm system, you wouldn't need that heat detector, because as soon as that goes off, it's going to automatically initiate RSD on the battery side.
Exactly. And it also allows for other integrations with the battery, right? So they're going to be programmable dry contacts.
And you'll be able to do that through the monitoring app or the battery app?
The battery app.
Okay.
Right. So you'll be able to program them to SOC levels or trigger points that you want to set it to as well. So there's going to be a lot of configurations people can do with that, and I think the community is going to be very excited about it.
I'm excited for it. I just want some for my house, James. Come on, buddy. I would love to get my house off grid, man. I've talked to my utility. They're on board with it, but really all I've got to do is be able to get somebody to do the one line, draw it up, make sure that I can support the kilowatt hour usage that I need to. And my utility said they'd come pull my meter off.
Well, James can do that for you, I guess, then.
I'm hoping. I would love to.
Since you mentioned James.
Come on, buddy.
Are you talking about James giving you a system, I guess, huh?
Yeah, giving me the system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
I'll film it so everybody can see it.
Right.
I'm a nice guy. All right, so let's hear it. We did batteries, Conduit boxes. We did the mini splits.
There's a new dongle being built as well.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's something that gets kind of pushed by the wayside because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's a small product.
Yeah, so it's there's a lot of concerns out there with China accessing your inverter or having the ability to
access the data.
Exactly.
Sure.
So we've been building our own dongle that will be a hot swappable dongle, basically with what you have now. You can plug it in, and it's going to go straight to U.S. servers only. EG4 is going to be the only one that has access to it.
Beautiful.
And the customers, of course.
But. And that's going to be here in Sulphur Springs as far as the server.
Server, well,
somewhere Texas based, right? It's going to be U.S. based.
Yeah, U.S. based only. And then we also have a partnership with Molecule as well that we started to have a bigger installer platform and access to more VPP and TPO programs. So that's been a big deal that's happening right now. That's why we're scaling up our software team at the same time.
Yeah, I just saw that launch actually. During this little conference I was at, Molecule was one of those hot topics that we're discussing. I saw the email from James, basically announcing that partnership and stuff. So we're excited, looking forward to that. That's going to help us in that industry, especially moving into 2026, right, with all the fiat compliant stuff, domestic content. So that's going to be great. TPOs and leases. I know we've got our new domestic content stuff coming out. I think that's, what do you think, Q2? for a full domestic content, fiat compliant?
Well, we're pushing for Q1.
Okay.
Yeah, we're pushing for Q1. We got a lot of resources on that, trying to get the Q1 launch out. So that's the plan. Q1. If it makes it to Q2, so be it. But Q1 is the goal, right?
Nice.
And there's also another EG4 gateway that we're developing. It's the same thing with Molecule, but it's a gateway basically that all of our devices, EG4 devices, will be able to connect to. Your mini splits, the inverters, the batteries, everything will be able to come to this one device, and you can now see it on one single platform, right? So before you had your mini splits on the app separate, right? So we're bringing it all together into one area.
And what's that going to look like? Just kind of like a portable, I don't want to say portable, but like an LCD screen that'll have all of your feature functions and all that?
No, it looks like a modem, right? So everything would just plug into it or connect to it.
Oh, and then you'll be able to
software.
see everything on an app or a mobile device?
Right.
Interesting.
And it'll also be your gateway to the VPP servers and other things.
To be able to do all that. Yeah. I gotcha. And then, so the dongles, right, my understanding at least right now is this will be Wi-Fi and Ethernet capable, right?
Right.
Can we please just put the cell card in there too?
The 4G?
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at that, but adding the 4G to it is going to make this dongle a lot bigger than where we're at now. So
it's a little itty bitty card, man.
Yeah, but the rest of it that goes with that card,
it's all the stuff that you guys can't see on the back end that we got to shove in there.
Yeah. So the plan was to add 4G. It might still be on the table. We're still looking into processors and other components that have to go in there with it. So if we add that now, it might get delayed, and so it's just the risk analysis you got to do at that point.
I'm good with keeping the one right now. I know that we get customers all the time, right? Like, oh, customers only got 5G internet, or maybe it's a new home build that don't have internet yet. To have that option where they could say, hey, I'm going to put this dongle in, I'm going to use the cell modem or the cell card for now, and then when I move into my house and I get Starlink or whoever's internet service, Cox Communication, whoever it is, then they can just revert back to that Ethernet process or into a Wi-Fi signal. I think to just consolidate it and make just one SKU across the board, nice and easy.
Yeah.
A feature benefit that I'd like to see personally.
Well, it's on the product plan. It's just seeing the feasibility actually doing it, right? So that's the process we're going through.
All right. So without getting into too much into 2026, I can't tell you guys everything.
Well, there's one more item that needs to be brought up. There's a LCD kit that we're bringing out.
This is the optional LCD kit or the remote?
We're calling it a universal LCD kit. So
okay.
You could plug this into your inverter or your battery, and with Ethernet cable, and it comes with an outdoor box or you can indoor mounting kit. But the Cat5 or the communications is going to be able to reach up to 75 feet, so you can put this inside your house, for instance. If you wanted to know what was going on with your stuff, you have this LCD that you can look at and change settings with, and you can look at the inverter specifically or the battery specifically at the same time. So
interesting.
That's going to be a pretty cool little kit to have for a lot of people that like to see their stuff in their garage or wherever they're at.
Right, without going outside and physically touching the equipment. Right. Maybe they're not comfortable around electricity, and they say, "Hey, I want to see my stuff, but I also don't want to go."
Wi-Fi. This works perfect for them, right?
Right. So, run a hardline cable right to the inside of the house.
Yeah.
That's a nice feature. I'll be looking forward to that. So, without getting into too much stuff for 2026, can you give us some insight? What's on your scope of work going into 2026?
Well, the all-in-one system, right?
That's going to be a big one.
We showed at RE Plus. We're looking at a 30 to 45-minute install on that one. We partnered with LG. We're using LG cells made in the USA for this. That's part of the domestic content, and then the inverter that's pairing with it is also going to be made in the USA. So it'll be a full domestic U.S.-made product
that'll qualify for TPOs and all that stuff. So that way, you get that. You get that 30% tax credit for the finance company.
That's right.
That's perfect.
And
I know we got some stuff on the agenda. I heard.
Well, there's on the agenda. Currently testing that right now. We're trying to get all the features added that we want and making sure the hardware's up to spec and the functions and the features that we want are added to that. So
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
And I get this a lot.
Okay.
400 amp service, split bus.
400 amp service split bus.
So have we gotten, and I think this was in the works, have we gotten to the point where we can parallel two grid bosses to support true 400 amp service?
Almost. It's been in testing.
Okay.
It takes a while to test this. This is
It's
big boy stuff. So it's still in testing. Hopefully we'll get through the testing quicker than what's going on now. But there's a lot of safety stuff that has to be thought about while you're testing this. 400 amps is nothing to play around with, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I've stuck a screwdriver on a bus bar before.
Oh, I bet it was a nice.
I wasn't always smart. Trust me, I was a regular guy once too.
Okay.
So looking at 2025 as a whole, from a cultural perspective inside of EG4, kind of what have you seen with the growth and changes and the evolution of the culture here at EG4?
Well, I've seen a lot of good key players get added to the team, growing the sales department, and the installer support guys, having field guys out there to actually go out there and troubleshoot the systems and teach the installers more about our stuff specifically than just the cookie cutter string inverters that they were installing, right? So that was a big deal. Engineering team has grown a lot. The product team has started growing a lot. Getting more definition on what we're actually looking for, what our priorities are, how we can win the market over, beat the number one competitor has always been a goal, right?
Always.
And compliance team, man,
killing it.
They're killing it, and they're growing constantly. They need more help. You can't keep up with with all this compliance stuff changing in the USA, especially California. They just keep making rules up day by day, right? So how can I make money off of this? I know, I'll make a rule about it.
I literally was just at the CALSA dinner with one of the sales guys out in California. And that was, man, it was like every table I watched by, you'd hear those conversations about what was that next thing, what was the next rule or policy going to be, to help California as a whole, right? Because they struggle, man, and they're going to continue to struggle with power sufficiency and with all these data centers. Arizona, where I live at, right, we've got TSMC going in. That's like 1,000-acre, microprocessing plant. We've got Intel out there. We've got Microsoft. I think Meta's looking at a place out there. We have already been informed by our utility where I live at that we are expecting rolling brownouts through 2026 already. The facilities aren't even operational yet, and they're already talking about it. But they're going to more than double our utility need in Arizona in less than a year, right? As these systems come online, they start actually manufacturing. And this is where battery storage is really just the only. If you're going to do solar, right, batteries are the only way to go. If you're just doing solar to give back to somebody else, what are you doing? Yeah, I mean, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're giving away free power. You're supporting another cause that doesn't benefit you in the back end.
Right.
I mean, unless you're getting into that, VPP world, right, where you're actually being benefited from providing that power source.
Right. Well,
so you talked about engineering. You talked about kind of the PLM team or the product team. What was it? Golly, man, the compliance team. Yeah, they do amazing.
Tech support's grown substantially.
I think they've doubled in size, right?
Yeah,
last like 90 days.
Size, right. The main focus of EG4 is to have somebody there that you can reach within 5 to 10 minutes, no matter what. Not be stuck on a line or talking to an AI robot.
Right.
Right. Talk to a physical person and get the solution you need within 15 to 30 minutes, and that's usually the target that they're hitting constantly there. That's a great team. They're working their butts off. I love the tech support team. I love them in general because they get all the BS, right?
Oh,
all they get is BS. And then when you go back there, and every time I go back there, I tell them guys, hey, I appreciate everything you're doing. You guys are doing great. Keep it up.
Absolutely.
Because they don't hear that part for the majority. All they hear is, I have a problem.
Right.
I need this fixed. And
it's all your
nobody
fault.
says thank you to them, right? They don't get no thank you at the end. And so those guys, I give them a pat on the back every time I go back there. I love them.
Yeah, you got to. I know when I first started with EG4, I didn't know a lot about the ecosystem. I came from the traditional grid-tied, kind of 3 major manufacturers. And my first couple of months, man, I was out in the field and just struggling to kind of get all the settings and parameters right. And I would call, Jacob or, Clint or Colton, one of those guys.
Me.
Yeah, you. Yeah, I've definitely called you. And it got to a point that I was actually coming down here for, I think it was a week or so. And I just couldn't help it, man. I cruised by, the grocery store, and I grabbed those boys a 12-pack of beer and just walked by and I was like, hey, thank you. I appreciate you guys making me look good while I'm out there in front of a customer. Because nobody, like you said, nobody appreciates those guys because they don't, people in, out in TV world, they don't know that stuff.
Right.
They're just a voice on the phone. But
Right.
when we show up, man, and these guys are still giggling, still smiling, still joking around, but they're just taking heat all day from all these customers calling them, hey, my system doesn't work. This broke. This isn't working the way I want it to. So, yeah, God bless them, man. They're a great team out there. I'm looking forward. I heard they're growing some more. They're going to get some additional staffing out there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like for those guys. It's going to help me. I still get tech support phone calls from people because
Right.
they got my number just like they
Right.
got yours.
Yep.
So no, it's been a lot of fun watching everybody grow this year
Yeah.
for sure. I know James is excited every time I see him. He's just ecstatic about the growth and the new opportunities. We've like you mentioned, we've grabbed some really big players in the industry.
Right.
Every time we go to trade shows, we hear guys like, "Hey, you guys hiring? We're looking for you guys are growing. We're looking for the next opportunity." So I think EG4 is on a trajectory to be, if not the best or biggest player in the nation next year. We'll be very, very competitive in that top 2 or 3 position.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I think, what was it? Was it last year we were number 2 for lithium iron phosphate installations in the U.S.?
For lithium batteries, yeah, so we were number 2.
Number 2 installed in the nation.
Right. Well, the problem is, if you sell batteries or inverters, and especially if you sell them to off-grid people, that none of that's tracked through California or their systems they use, right?
Right.
For that stuff. So if somebody finally figured out how to track this stuff, and they figured out that we were actually number 2 in battery sales across the USA, so now they've implemented that into that system,
Right.
that kind of tracking. So that's been pretty cool to see EG4 on that list. And also posted in a lot of these solar news clips and stuff that are available online, and that's thanks to our marketing and branding team that's also grown. Right,
They do a fantastic job as well.
They do a very, very good job.
I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for them, right?
That's right. That's right.
I work for them.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I mean, technically. Callie told me earlier she was going to fire me if I wasn't a good boy today.
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun. I still
Right.
got my other job doing sales stuff, so you
Yeah.
guys will still see me.
Right.
All right, so 2026. What does that look like for us? What's your? I've seen the sales projection. I know kind of where we're at. What do you think we're going to do next year as far as products, market share gain, stuff like that?
So 2026 is going to be more focused on the all-in-one type systems, domestic content, right? That's going to be very, very huge for us. We're actually stepping into a market that is a lot bigger than what we've been used to. So the main focus is going to be getting the product out for that market and sustaining it. There's going to be some new product obviously coming out as well. I can't talk about talked about already, which I wasn't supposed to, but
Don't worry, we can edit that out.
it's fine. You can leave that. The competitors already know.
We've been talking about it at trade shows for 8 months that we had in the works, and I get asked about it all the time too. And they're like, "Hey, what's your timeline on?" I have no idea. Even if I did, I couldn't tell you. It's just unfortunate, but that's kind of your world. So domestic content, all in one, and I know the all in one's 100 volt, right? We're going to the 100 volt battery.
Yeah, so we're going to a 100 volt system. Your traditional 48 volt is a good market. Don't get me wrong. I love the 48 volt market. My system's 48 volt, but moving up to 100 volts is going to give you the opportunity to have a more efficient inverter, more efficient output to systems wise, right? So instead of being at 87 to 92% or 95%
For like round trip efficiency?
you'll actually be at 95 plus.
Wow.
Right. So the 100 volt system is going to be huge in that area. And then it's also going to be unique to what we're doing specifically, not trying to copy or do what other people are doing. This is going to be a nice system that you'll be able to install, and it's going to run for a lot longer because of the efficiency alone, right? So you won't be able to degrade the system as fast as you would with the 48 volt system.
So my understanding, and this is, I don't know, right? I've only ever seen the mocked up version of the 100 volt, is that 100 volt if you're using that battery in conjunction with the all-in-one that it comes with, which is, my understanding is basically just like a flex boss, just kind of sideways with a little more feature benefit. On that 100 volt, can you run and get the full capacity or the full output capacity of the inverter? Because like if you look at it like the 18 kPV, for instance, right? You've got to do like a 1.5 battery to 1 inverter ratio to get that full capacity.
You're still gonna have to have multiple batteries. You can get that full output, but it's going to be a limited time, right? But you're still going to have multiple batteries. The reason why is because this inverter is actually going to be able to output 18 kilowatts.
Right.
So,
I saw that number.
And the number's still going up. We're still doing more testing, and we might be able to get it up to 20. That's what we're pushing for, right?
That's incredible.
And for the size of that inverter, doing that amount of power, it's going to be very incredible. So, right? It's going to be pretty big. But yeah, you definitely have to have more batteries to run full output continuous. The battery that we built now is actually 15.8 kilowatts. Mm-hmm. So it's not a full 16. And just usually running a battery in general, you run it at half C, not at 1C. So you're definitely not going to get 18 or 20 kilowatts out of one single battery.
Yeah, I think I saw some data on there too that said had the 200 amp discharge capacity, but it was rated down to like 140, 160.
Yeah.
And what's the reason behind that reduction? That 40, is that just a safety kind of feature? Or?
It's the common LFP chemistry, right? That you follow. You don't want You want to keep a 10-year warranty, then you have to run it at
you've got to stay at that halfway mark.
Right.
I got you. Yeah, not a chemist.
Right.
Barely graduated high school.
Well, at least you did.
And look at us now, successful young men.
Right.
I don't know about young, but 2026. I've got a couple predictions. I see some I think we're gonna have another exponential year. I think we're gonna more than double in size this coming year. We've got, like you mentioned, we've got Solar 76. We've got our distribution partner, Signature Solar. You've got EG4. You've got our parent company, EAI, Outback. What else do we got going on? I mean, it's just every single year or every couple of months I hear about this, new product launch or, new team or new department.
We got 2 or 3 products that we're developing that are going to change the industry a little bit. I can't talk about them too much, but 2026 they'll be coming out. Some other products that are going to change the industry a bit. It's something that hasn't been in the market before, and we're really looking to help bring the cost down on a lot of these installs. The biggest focus for the owner, the CEO of this company, and he's wholeheartedly He wholeheartedly pushes the company towards this. This is his vision, is to bring the cost down on solar so everybody can afford it.
Yep.
He wants everybody to be able to afford it. He doesn't care about making that extra $1,000 or $2,000 markup that all these other competitors are doing. So we're building something that's going to be able to come into the market at a very, very low cost, and without these tax incentives that are going away, the 30% for the residential people, it'll kind of solve that issue and make it to where the ROI will come back quicker to them.
Well, Markus, I want to thank you so much, man, for coming on Beyond the Grid. It was a pleasure. I know you had a little bit of apprehension coming in, man. You did fantastic. I'll be sure to check you out here next time I'm in town, probably next month sometime. For all you guys out there, thanks for watching. Happy New Year, happy holidays. We'll look forward to seeing you in 2026. Inter Solar San Diego, we'll be there. Come check us out, look for new products, and we'll see you there.